such is the life. We got them. We nailed. Got them. I am not talking well today.
I think you need a little bit more caffeine in that cup.
All I've got's water in that cup.
Oh, see, there's not enough caffeine in that water.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!
Hello, everybody. It's time for more Law Light, brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtry, FWHlegal.com. As always, we are situated in the high-rise white brick edifice at 530 Frederick Street, Owensboro, Kentucky, situated in the library studio. PJ is on the other side of the table. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good.
Doing a Micro Machines guy.
Got right out of the gate.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody remembers the Micro Machines guy.
Hey, we got a few things to talk about today and a few things to do.
He totally ignored the Micro Machines guy. He didn't want to talk about machines.
We have a guest today, PJ.
Yes, we do.
A special guest that you invited onto the show.
Yeah, she could not get here fast enough to do it.
When you asked her, she bolted out of her chair,
She
kind of
did.
like I introduced the show today.
She did.
Katie Davis.
Hello.
Katie has been on the podcast before and loved it. Katie is a very important person around here. Some people probably don't know how important. Katie is our medical legal investigator, which means she does a lot of things. And as you may remember, the evolution of this position, we kind of started by Missy getting her legal nurse consulting and coming over and kind of getting that entire operation up and going.
Yeah.
We talk about the fact that we handle personal injury law here at Foreman Watson Holtry is our primary specialty. Not that we don't do other things, but that's kind of what the firm, like the cornerstone of the firm. In personal injury cases, people probably don't think about it that often, but we have to process a lot of medical records and a lot of medical bills. Just to give everybody an idea, if at any one time our firm will be handling somewhere between 120 and 180 personal injury cases. If every one of those people are seen or treated by 4 people, that means we have medical records
up the wazoo,
at least from, in those cases, around 600 to 800 different providers. Medical treatment in a lot of our cases, if not all of them, is ongoing. During the case, the person is continuing to treat. And as they continue to treat, we have to continue to update those medical records and bills. Now,
right.
For a long time, before we had people like Katie on staff, the attorneys and the paralegals were reviewing all the medical records themselves and preparing summaries or partial summaries or just doing what we could to get by so that we could understand what was going on medically in our cases. When we realized that that was too much to ask the paralegals and the attorneys to just really to stay caught up on that, we created this, we started this position with Missy. Tara did it briefly before becoming a paralegal, and we hired Katie. Katie has a diverse medical background, but what she does on a day in, day out basis, not only summarizing medical records, she's in communication with attorneys about any red flags that we find in medical records that could anyway be inconsistent, that could be an error in the record, that could be problems from the history of our clients. There's a whole litany of things that she looks for when she goes through the records, and she types out a summary that boils things down so that when we read it, we have an idea of what that 1,200 pages of medical records would be if we got into it. We have a good idea of what we're going to see. So she interprets labs. She defines different medications for us, procedures, anatomical definitions. So it's on and on and on. But that's only one element of what she does. Katie also will write the letters to update medical records for us, write the letters to get the updated medical bills, and she stays in touch with her clients. As much as we would like to believe that our clients love to go to the doctor, that's not the truth. There are people that have kids and their kids are involved in things, or they have work, or they have other things. And sometimes getting to medical appointments is not a priority. So Katie is constantly on the phone with our clients. Hey, how are you doing? When did you last go see Dr. Seuss? What did Dr. Seuss tell you? She takes those updates that she gets from clients, puts them into our system, and now the attorneys can read those, and we know if our client is continuing to get better, if they're getting worse, if they're not treating, so we can stay on top of that element of the case. The other thing that she does is she helps us in medical malpractice cases really get to the bottom of whether or not there is something more that we should do as far as sending it to the next level of investigation. I think the reason Katie wasn't super excited about coming in on the podcast today is because I know her workload.
Super busy.
We got right to the truth here.
Yeah.
All right, now everything he said, Katie, was that all accurate?
That is all accurate. I do a lot.
You started in
April.
This upcoming April will be a year anniversary, so she's going on 8 months here with the firm. And
it doesn't feel like it.
It is.
Time is just flying nowadays.
She's done a great job, and today we're going to let her have her hand at movie picking. Welcome, Katie. What kind of drink is that you've got there?
Lots of espresso.
Espresso.
Got to get those medical records.
Is it sugar-free?
Yeah, actually it is.
Is it really?
It's just, man, it looks like a lot of caffeine, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good for you, though.
Now,
caffeine's good for you.
It is?
I don't know.
A little
is
bit
it good
of
for you?
A little.
Let's ask our medical person.
4 shots of espresso is definitely not good.
Is it bad for your heart?
Yes.
Oh, I want to say real quick, I was excited when you started this position because as the resident hypochondriac,
you're the
yeah, it gave me somebody to talk to.
You definitely make me research for sure.
But I don't think I've bugged you as much. I bugged Missy a lot more. I was also going through anxiety-induced periods of time.
Yeah, people don't ask me too many medical questions. They mostly just come to me for Motrin.
I don't know who she's talking about. I spilled her whole bottle of Motrin inside her drawer while she wasn't here last week, and it took me like 10 minutes to clean out her drawer from
that is hilarious.
Those little orange Motrin pills.
And then she knew because you forgot one pill.
Did you find it?
Like,
yeah, there is probably a couple.
There's a few in there around there.
She's like, who's been in my drawer?
I know exactly where everything is. So I stay organized.
Well, thankfully, being a hypochondriac means that I have Tylenol, Excedrin migraine, and various other.
So I can come down and hit yours up.
Yeah, he can rate his medicine drawer too.
Although I usually keep the Excedrin migraine for myself because it's part of my addiction.
Okay.
I haven't had it in 2 days though. So.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Man, breaking the...
But I've been having caffeine headaches. So my body's saying it's time for an Excedrin migraine.
All right. Well, now that we know that we're all held together by caffeine and pills, we will move along here on the podcast. Hey, before we jump into the primary matter at hand, you may remember about midway through October, I came in here and I had this look on my face like, oh my gosh, if I can survive the next 6 weeks. And I told you I had 21 depositions between that day and November 30th. Remember me telling you that?
Yeah.
And yesterday, I don't know if you know what today is. Today's December uno.
Yeah.
Meaning yesterday was the end of November. Only one of those depositions canceled, which means that I accomplished 20 depositions in that just under 6 week period of time.
And you survived.
And here I am to talk about it. Now I've only got 4 depositions between now and the end of the year. So it's like, wow, such is the life. We got them. We nailed, got them. I am not talking well today.
I think you need a little bit more caffeine in that cup.
I've got water in that cup.
Oh, see, there's not enough caffeine in that water.
But we knocked them out and we're ready to roll. So, okay, Christmas movies. We're down to 4. And we're going to kind of summarize how we got here.
And it's all the heavy hitters.
But before we do that, you and I had a conversation this week, and we are going to we're going to discuss a movie that may just make it to the 32 next year. It's brand new, out this year. It's called 8-Bit Christmas. And it looks hysterical. The one thing I don't know, and I don't know if you've been able to figure this out, is it going to be on the big screen? Is it going to be in theaters, or is it only on HBO Max?
I'll have to look that up. I think it's only on HBO Max.
Well, give us a summary there.
Okay, so in 1980s Chicago, a 10-year-old sets out on a quest to get the Christmas gift of his generation, the latest and greatest video game system. So it's kind of based on a true story about this guy back whenever he was a kid and the Super Nintendo came out. So that's what it's about, which I can relate to because I had the Super Nintendo when it first came out. Of course, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. It also came with that pad that you could run on. But, I mean, that game forced you to run, so didn't really play it.
Mm-hmm.
But I played
like
Duck Hunt and Super Mario. It's because Super Mario did all the running for you. You didn't have to do any actual exercise.
See, I had the Wii when I was younger. I didn't get around to like the
My
Super
kids
Mario.
love the Wii. That was like from the very first one up through the, they really improved the technology with Wii. Made their own little Wii people, right?
Yeah, and you can like dance. And there's all kinds of
stuff.
things.
Boxing.
Golfing,
yeah. So anyway, 8-Bit Christmas. Who's in it?
Well, it's from the guy that made Stuber, and I don't know if you've seen Stuber. Take Me Home Tonight's another
I
good
thought
one.
that was from the makers of Elf.
It may be from the producers of
Elf.
Potentially. But it's got Winslow Fegley.
Oh, Winnie.
Which he's a little kid, so he seems like he's pretty new. Neil Patrick Harris, Steve Zahn, which I love Steve Zahn. He hasn't been around in a while. So.
I'm telling you, a lot of times trailers, are the best part of the movie, and then when you see the movie, you're like, oh, well.
That was it.
That was it. But I just think this one's got. I have always been a fan of Jingle All the Way, right, PJ?
Oh yeah, you have.
And the basis for my liking of that movie is the parental struggle of finding the gift, and we all have had that anxiety around Christmas time, and I think that this is another movie that's going to kind of encapsulate that whole idea of locating the gift.
That gift that's sold out everywhere.
That's right, and so. It looks good. Check it out. I'm gonna have PJ. You're gonna have to watch it first, okay, and tell me if this movie deserves to be in the list of 32 next year.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
It's
once
good.
we finally see. I'm trying to find out. It was released Wednesday, November 24th.
Okay, so it's on
HBO Max.
It's only one,
and theaters simultaneously.
Okay, so it's in the theaters.
Yeah.
Can you check and see if it's at Malco?
Yep, that's what I'm going to do now.
It's been a while since we've had a new Christmas movie come out.
I know.
It just looks good.
It is not. It is
not on the movies.
It is not at our theater. So it's probably
big markets.
Select theaters.
Yeah, it's select theaters.
Okay. Well, let's keep an eye out for when that one does. And if not, then let's all maybe take a gander at
If you can't go see 8-Bit Christmas, at least go see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, we're going to see that. Have you seen it?
I have. It is really good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Are you going to see it?
I'm going to go see it.
Oh man, it's so good.
I don't promise that I'll cry.
You might.
I don't know.
I've talked to people who don't normally cry in movies, and this movie made them cry.
I just about ripped my head off.
Yeah, it happens.
Earphones, headphones, or whatever these things are.
Well, they're Bose, so they're strong.
All right, enough dilly-dallying. We have narrowed 32 movies that were selected by our movie critic, PJ Starks, down to 4 movies. The process was as follows. 32 movies were put into a hat and randomly selected into a bracket. The bracket made them go head-to-head, and then the first round and head-to-head would reduce the 32 to 16. That voting was done by Tyler Johnson, one of the partners here at the firm, and PJ, and I acted as the deciding vote if needed, and I was not needed much.
No,
right.
I was really surprised about that too.
Right.
I figured we would be more conflicting with our choices, but we weren't.
We stay with the original bracket and don't reorder things, and you just kind of advance through, kind of like the NCAA. And so the 16.
The what?
The NCAA tournament. God bless. God,
is that like
a basketball
it's like a
tournament.
sports thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm being facetious.
So we go from 16 down to 8, and we had Amy Burden, my paralegal, who's been my paralegal for more than half of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Amy did a good job. and waited. And I had done some research, actually. Remember? Yeah, a little Google research. And with her help, again, the two of you would make the vote. And if I was needed to make the deciding vote, it was reduced to 8. And then we brought in John Bennett, one of our attorneys, criminal defense attorney here at the firm. And he helped us eliminate 4 more and take the 8 down to the 4 that we have today.
Now, in sports terms, what is the 8 called?
Elite 8.
Elite 8.
You called it the Awesome 8.
Right, because I didn't know what it was.
Awesome 8 is fine.
Final 4, had I not known Final 4, I probably would have went with like Fantastic 4.
It doesn't matter, Pete.
Because it's a movie.
You can you can label it what you want. It's our bracket, okay?
True, but I'm trying to keep it honest.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the FWH Final 4, in no particular order, we will read the incredible movies that have made it to this point. Home Alone has made it for the 2nd year in a row to the Final 4. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer making its first appearance in the Final 4. A Charlie Brown Christmas likewise making its first appearance in the Final 4. And A Christmas Story making its first appearance in the Final 4. So 3 of these 4 had not made it this far last year. That's an amazing statistic for those that follow statistics. Yeah. What do you think, Katie?
I think everybody has different opinions on what their favorite Christmas movie is.
And that's what the beauty of it is.
That's her way of saying, I don't agree with any of these choices.
Where is Elf?
One thing I will say.
Why is Elf not on this?
Is just for those that don't listen every week, there is one movie glaringly missing from the Final 4, and it is Christmas Vacation. And the reason it's not in the Final 4 is because it was in the Final 4 last year, the Final 2 last year, and won the whole doggone thing. And it now sits at the table of the Hall of Fame of Christmas movies. So it doesn't have to participate ever again. Okay? No more training.
It's such a good movie. It shouldn't have had to participate to begin with.
It should just automatically won.
It just went right to the Hall of Fame.
Well, it did. It kind of moved without
Kind of
much.
did, yeah.
Yeah, it did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read out the first pairing.
Okay.
The way this is going to work, Katie and you, PJ, will vote. Okay, and if I'm needed to cast the deciding vote, I will do that. So the first pairing: A Charlie Brown Christmas, 1965, versus A Christmas Story, 1983.
The 60s versus the 80s.
I wasn't around for either.
Wait, what? When were you born?
87.
Oh, you're still you're still born in the 80s.
Before we vote, you've seen them both?
I have seen both.
Obviously, you've seen them both.
Oh, yeah.
I have seen them both many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
Thanks to the 24 hours of Christmas Story. It's kind of hard not to with that
Okay.
one.
I'll tell you what. I've got a number that I'm going to have under the table. Okay? With my hands here. Whoever picks closest to it will make the first vote between the two of you guys. Okay?
Oh, so from 1 to 10?
1 to 10.
6.
Okay, PJ, it's not that tough.
9.
The number was 4.
Oh.
Okay? And so, Katie.
I was going to say 3 originally.
Katie, between Charlie Brown Christmas and A Christmas Story, who you got?
Charlie Brown Christmas.
And what's the reason for that?
Because it's a classic. You always watch it with your kids. It's something you cannot get through Christmas season without watching A Charlie Brown Christmas. You have to.
Firm. There's no wiggle.
No wiggle
you can't
room.
be convinced.
No.
Like, I couldn't sit here and persuade you at all.
It's Charlie Brown.
Okay. She seems pretty established on her vote there. PJ.
Okay, so last week I sounded almost anti A Christmas Story, which is not the case. Because I do think A Christmas Story in a lot of ways is overplayed. But at the same time, it's still a classic regardless. Now, Charlie Brown Christmas is a movie that I equate to, I guess, that familial kind of like warmth of Christmas. So that one always has a special place in my heart. But this morning I was doing a lot of thinking about these two together. Which one would I watch if I had the choice? Because which one do I have the most fun with? And it's probably A Christmas Story. Because with those two, like, A Christmas Story is legitimately a great comedy. There's a lot of really fun, funny moments in that. A Charlie Brown Christmas, it's a good movie from a narrative standpoint. It's got a really good story, and it's got a lot of good lessons and stuff like that. And it's definitely something that's great to watch with your kids. But A Christmas Story, also something you can watch with your kids, is something that I think is just fun to watch. So I'm going to go with A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story is more of a comedy, where Charlie Brown Christmas is more like a family feeling.
Christmas narrative, yeah. Wow. So you guys are both looking at me to...
I have a feeling I know which direction this is going to go, but I'll reserve.
Boy, I am really torn. I was not prepared to have to vote. I thought that... this year I have voted very little. I mean, it's just there's been a lot of consensus up to this point. So I am going to have to go through a little analysis here, okay?
Okay.
A Charlie Brown Christmas, I have more distinct memories as it relates to that movie. I think that it was foundational as far as my childhood. I think I shared one small example of a place I remember watching it, with other kids, people from our church. And so it's definitely one of my favorites. I'm like you. Christmas Story does a fabulous job of, number one, capturing a time period in our country when things were just not quite as censored and the filter was not quite as strong. You couldn't be soft, and I love that.
Oh, fudge.
Yeah. Well, just, today we would probably not make a movie and make such a big deal out of it where it showed bullying like, Ralphie was the victim of, and then he finally has had enough, and it's just got so many real life lessons in it. This is
you can
so
see
hard.
the inner turmoil, the conflict happening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got to make a decision. Okay. The deciding factor is going to be the feels, and for me, Charlie Brown gives me the feels. A Christmas Story. It's going to be back in the Final Four. It's going to be there, and it belongs in the Hall of Fame. But so does A Charlie Brown Christmas, and this year, A Charlie Brown Christmas is going to go to the championship.
Okay.
So,
all right.
That is a tough one. I hope you two can figure out how to answer the next two, because I did not like making that vote, because I would love for a Christmas Story, but it's Charlie Brown Christmas is a staple. It's wonderful. So it deserves its spot there to at least have a shot at the Hall of Fame. All right, that brings us to
congratulations, Charlie.
I've got a number under the table, 1 to 10, and PJ, you can pick first.
9.
5.
The number was 1. So, Katie.
I think he just changed his fingers after we said what they were.
The typical. All right. Well, we want to do rock, scissors, papers, if you don't believe me.
No, this is fine.
Okay. All right.
Usually I let the guest go first anyway.
By the way, is it rock, scissors, paper, or paper, rock, scissors?
Paper, rock, scissors.
The other day at basketball practice, I told kids they had to do rock, scissors, paper, and they looked at me.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors.
Not paper, rock, scissors. Okay, whatever.
I mean, really, you could say it however
Scissors,
you
paper,
want.
rock. Yeah, whatever.
It's all the same outcome.
It is. There's one of 3 choices.
Right.
Well, you used to have dynamite, too. Did y'all ever play with dynamite? It's dynamite. It blows it all up.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Scissors can trim the wick, though. Dynamite loses to scissors because...
Now you're just getting too complicated. Right. I think dynamite would blow up the scissors. That's what I think.
Not if it doesn't have a wick. All right.
What if the wick's already lit?
Home Alone versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Katie, because you picked the number closest, you get to, again, make the first vote.
That's a tough one. Rudolph is kind of like A Charlie Brown Christmas. It's a classic. It's something you want to watch every year. But Home Alone is such a good movie. I enjoy watching it. I have fun watching it. It's funny. And it's something that I would definitely pick watching over Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I'm going to say Home Alone.
Okay. Good analysis. Right. PJ?
First of all, I want to point out I find it really interesting this year that it's in both instances, it's a live action movie versus a cartoon or an animated movie because Rudolph is
right.
Stop
it would have
motion.
been interesting if we had Rudolph versus Charlie Brown.
I can tell you right now which one I would have chosen.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing against Rudolph. Both made in the 60s.
1 year apart.
Yeah.
I bet one was the big deal one year and the next year.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with everything that Katie said. I'm just going to make this easy. I, too, am going to go with Home Alone. I looked at this the same way that I looked at the other two. I was like, which one do I have the most fun with watching? Which one would I pop in and watch over the other? And it would be Home Alone for me.
So you're picking Home Alone.
I am picking
I don't
Home
have
Alone
to
as
vote.
well. No, you don't.
All right. Well, let's talk about that for a second, just in case, if you wondered if what I would vote for. Home Alone would have gotten the nod from me if I was asked to make the deciding vote. Home Alone is a movie that I'll watch any time of the year. You know,
Same.
I mean, it's hilarious. And when Missy and I got married, you know, my 4 plus her 3, and we made 7, and then we have boyfriends and girlfriends around. Then we have little Jax. He's like, everybody's either 19 or older, and then there's Jackson, right? And so he's getting picked on. He's always wanting to do what the bigger people are doing. And I will tell you that we are always saying, where's Jax? Where's Jax? You know, so this movie right now, I'm living out like on a day-to-day basis.
He's your Kevin McAllister.
He's my Kevin McAllister. Yes, he is. Home Alone would have gotten the vote. So here's what we have to do next week. Next week, we have to decide between A Charlie Brown Christmas and Home Alone. A Charlie Brown
tough
Christmas.
choice.
At least you don't have to be here
least
for
I
that.
don't have to do that
See,
one.
you ought to be thankful that you were asked today. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is maybe grab Jim Watson for the final vote.
It's too bad neither one of these are a nautical movie.
Why?
Because he did nautical law.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes, I understand. Yeah. Okay, that was a really lame attempt at humor, but
Jim would have loved it.
nautical. Okay, Charlie Brown Christmas, Home Alone. Now, PJ, that will put us for Friday, December the 10th, which gives us 2 weeks before Christmas, and I have something in store for you. I do. It's a surprise. Okay?
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a surprise. Katie?
Like for the episode?
Yeah. For what
following?
the 2 episodes.
He looks really nervous.
The 2 episodes following this, I've got planned already.
Well, now I'm really interested and slightly anxious.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to have some issues popping up. Katie, I'll be coming and talking to you about.
Yeah. He's gonna start.
What does it mean when my heart flutters and my big toe aches?
Stop taking so much Excedrin.
Yeah. Next week, join us for the championship, the finals. Charlie Brown Christmas will be taking on Home Alone for a seat next to or across the table from A Christmas Vacation at the Christmas Movie Hall of Fame.
Are you going to do the winner from this versus A Christmas Vacation to see who would win?
Then that goes in, and then that one goes into the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame.
The super duper most extreme Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Well, we could discuss it. I mean, you know, the Hall of Fame is just it's exclusive.
I would just like to point out that we went this entire episode, almost 34 minutes now, with Katie being here, and not once did I talk about butts.
Congratulations.
Much better. And scopes and on all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and end things.
I got sleep last night, too, so that's...
All right. Good memory. That's right. I forgot.
I did not.
That's why you were afraid to come on. I got you.
She was worried she was going to talk about butts.
Butt jokes. Okay. This has been Law Light, brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtry, fwhlegal.com. Check us out on our website or all platforms of social media. And if you ever need a very, very good lawyer, pick the ones that know Christmas movies at Foreman Watson Holtry. Until next time, have a wonderful day and enjoy this magical time of year.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery of a sham, of a mockery of a travesty of 2 mockeries of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!